industry to do to come up with different activities. We work with associations also. So the one over here, we work with the Food and Beverage Management Association to organize a tourism race, including different hotels and restaurants in Singapore. That was really fun, right? And again, these are all supported and planned by our students. So there's just so much of opportunities to interact with the industry, which we think is very important because that helps to understand the industry better besides networking. Overseas trip. Now, this is also part of the curriculum for degree and master's students. Besides understanding the tourism setting in Singapore, I think it would be good for you guys to move around and understand other cities' tourism settings as well. And then come back and compare Singapore with that country you visited and the country that you came from. So you can see how everything is, tailored and complemented and blended together into the curriculum. We do a lot of career fairs. So every year we do a career fair, and we think this is important for our students to understand not only the exhibitors, but to understand the different opportunities out there and what are the educational requirements, what are the skill requirements. Right? So these are the top exhibitors that we had for last year. It was a 2-day exhibition. Right? And this is complimentary for all our students to understand. These are our industry partners. For internship, this is who we work with. For employment, this is who we work with. Of course, there's many more. These are just the top ones that I'm placing here. There's many more restaurants, events company. There are many more travel agencies that we work with. These are just some of our students on internship in different hotels and clubs. The American Club. We have Fullerton. We have Shangri-La, Sentosa, Park Royal, and these are big brands here in Singapore. And of course, there's much more. We work with the Marriott, we work with many more Hyatt, we work with Conrad, and so on. These are just some of our students. This was 2 years back. Right, one of our students, he did his internship with the Shangri-La Group in China, and he was voted the best intern. Right, and we are very glad to have supported his journey and equipped him with the right skills to deliver his internship well. Now, we also have students from all around the world, like I mentioned. One of them is Korea, and this is a student who graduated from a BSc degree with us, and she was immediately given a job by Marriott. Okay? And again, this tells you the strength of our industry connection. Another student, Park Min-jin, she also graduated from our degree last year and also got another job with Conrad. Right? So you can see the strength of our program. I think the strength of any school's program is also aligned to the industry association, the industry context, the global or the wider industry context, because all this creates opportunities for students. Against a school where students just come in, learn and go, right? So that's a big difference, and that is our philosophy for our students to, experience the full spectrum of Hospitality and Tourism Institute. This is a student who recently graduated. She did a higher diploma. I got a chance to also meet the parents. The parents came down to Singapore, and so this is a testimony. A very bubbly student, very engaging, very quiet in the beginning. Again, I don't know why. A lot of foreign students, when they come in, they're very quiet in the first few weeks. After that, it's the opposite. So this is what she has to say. I had learned to communicate with a lot of different kinds of people. Yes, know how the culture of different countries, hands-on skills training, and real working experience. She, instead of doing her internship in the hotel, she preferred to do it in the cafe that we own. So she did it there, and she engaged with a diverse group, including the public, and she learned a lot. In fact, her goal is to go back to India and start small restaurant chains with the support of her parents, right? So that is why she wanted to work in the cafe and understand, because she sees a lot of potential for cafes in India. All right, so finally, in terms of international employment, what we also do, and this is again complementary part of your learning experience with us, we work with HOSCO. This is a network which works with the top schools around the world, and we are the first to work with them. Apparently, we were chosen as the preferred institute in Singapore to work with them. So how Hosco works is that they have a huge group of hotels and restaurants and different other partners where they will allow our students to access the jobs that are offered by them worldwide and get into direct contact with the HR of the different sector or organization you choose. So something like LinkedIn, but this is a very it's a more of a direct channel to the recruiting personnel within that organization. So it gives you a lot of opportunity. So when you go into Hosco, you first start off by registering, and of course you choose which continent you want to work in, and then which state, which company, and then you talk to the HR employers. Right, so yes, so as you can see, from start to end, we have put in a lot of thought for your learning journey. And after you finish your time with us, we also want to support you in your full-time job search. Now, a little bit about Singapore and our end. Right, almost at the end. This is most likely my last slide. Recently, we were voted number 1 for business competitiveness and the best place for children to live. Right, so hopefully this assures you to come to Singapore. We're also ranked first in the world for digital readiness, top city for meeting and events. So no other better place to learn about meeting and events than Singapore. Top in Asia for most innovative country. Top in Asia in equipping students with skills for working life. Top in collaborative problem-solving skills. And top 5 in Asia for best skills labor. So yes, being a Singaporean, I have to boast a little bit about Singapore, but yes, everything is there for you, right, to improve and to discover yourself. All right, guys, so as promised, we have reached the Q&A session, and I think at this point of time, we will open up to you guys to ask questions. So this is where I'll also stop sharing the screen. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Isaac. It was a wonderful and a very informative session. I have received few questions to my inbox, and I would go ahead and ask the question. There is a question: why one must choose NDIS for the hospitality and the tourism due to the current situation?
All right, so I think in my presentation earlier on, we spoke about the different facilities. We're actually blessed to be one of the few facilities or few schools in Singapore to have such facilities. All right, F&B, kitchen, and we have the training restaurant. We have so much more, right? As earlier on mentioned. So if the question is why to choose MDIS, yes, because a lot of thought goes into your learning experience with us. Now, second, what about the current ongoing COVID situation? We have put in a lot of security measures for our students. Like I mentioned earlier, we have a dormitory within the school. We provide meals. We have all the facilities. So you don't need to actually go out if you're very worried. Like I mentioned earlier on, the infection rate among Singaporeans is very low compared to the migrant workers who are contained in dormitories. So the government has made a distinction between these two, and that's why you see us resuming the economy next week. Schools are starting, primary schools, high institutes of higher schools are starting. The economy, part of the economy is going back. Now, the other good thing that the government is also talking about is in the middle of June, they are also planning to open up much more of the wider economy, right? So these are all good news that the government has put in place to contain COVID, to ensure the health and safety of everyone, including our students. So I hope I'm able to answer your question that in terms of safety, we are there. In terms of MDIS, because of the learning experience and the facilities, we are also there for you.
Okay, and the next question is what is the job opportunity once after they complete the hospitality and tourism course? Okay, this is the question. What are the opportunities that they are going to get? I guess you have already covered that in the presentation.
Yes.
Yeah, so is it okay if you can just give them the main points like restaurants and travel industries, where all they are going to get? Maybe just the pointers?
Yes. All right. So I think one of the good things about MDIS is our industry association locally and internationally. So that creates a different platform for our students to actually get in touch during in school and after school. So during school, like I said, we have this industry networking receptions, field trips, guest speakers coming in. That is already one platform for you to understand the different job opportunities and the different characteristics of different jobs. The next is also we support you after school. We have different, platforms like Hosco. We work with different agents. We work directly with, different partners to promote you, right? And so, like I said earlier, we don't only focus when you're in school, we also want to create opportunities for you after school. So we have put in place different alternatives for you to explore, right?
Safina, if I may add on to what Isaac has mentioned, Singapore itself as a destination, it is one of the destinations for tourism within our Southeast Asia region. And having lived here and having also lived in few other countries, including the UK and few other places, one difference that I see is that Singapore actually does equal opportunity. And at the same time, it relies a lot on international talent to fulfill their manpower needs. So this combined together, that the opportunities are offered equally regardless of where you originate from. It is purely based on your talent, your skill level, and that allows students to be engaged with and to work with leading properties. I mean, we've gone through the presentation and we see that we're working with Fullerton Hotel, we're working with Ritz-Carlton's, Marina Bay Sands. Now, these are not just big properties, but they are iconic properties over the world. So students getting a chance to work with them. For example, we are getting to work when the Formula One races go here in Singapore. These experiences do matter, and that puts them way ahead of probably their contemporaries back in India or any other in terms of the skills they achieve and how they present themselves to potential employers. So Singapore does offer an optimal blend of opportunity, of taking your skills and being able to present it to the right employers. And the icing on the cake, if I may refer to it that way, is that Singapore is the only institution MDIS is the only institution in Singapore that is being invited to be part of Hosco, which is a chain of leading property. So that allows our students to get employed in Singapore, but to also be open to opportunities across the world.
Okay.
So they can work within the Southeast region, they can try in Europe or even in India for that matter if somebody wants to do that. So it opens up many doors, not just in Singapore but everywhere.
All right, thank you so much, Mohit. And there is another question. I think you must be the right person to answer this question. The question is, like, most of the universities are providing the scholarship due to the current situation. So are we going to get a scholarship when we enroll for this course?
Okay,
Yes.
as far as
I'll let Mohit answer this.
As far as the scholarship is concerned, I think part of the answer you gave in the question itself, that a lot of institutions are offering scholarship just for the COVID thing. Now, when we talk about scholarship, it should be something that we earn and not been given just like that. So yes, we offer bursaries and financial assistance to students. But when it comes to scholarships, yes, we have scholarships, but it is awarded to students on their academic merit and their scholarly achievements during their study. It is not a blank scholarship that is awarded to anyone who applies. So not how it works here in Singapore. Students who have worked hard in their education, who have potential and who are serious about their studies, we do have different ways in which we support them, be it in terms of academic or merit scholarships, be it in terms of financial bursaries. So yes, there are many options for students, and we can discuss with as they approach us and examine them case by case. Isaac, you have anything else to add on to this?
Yeah, I think I
No.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So besides what Mohit mentioned, we have things within program. So once you join us, of course, the top students are also, you have something awaiting for you, at the end as well.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, so now there is another question. We were discussing about a couple of the programs. Among the different courses suggested, which is the third one? This is a question from my partner.
Okay, so the preferred one, number one, would be based on your interest and entry level qualifications. So we need to look at which one you qualify for. Then I would be able to address that question better.
Okay, all right.
Just to summarize it, Safina, to answer it in another way is, it depends on where the student is as a end outcome of the studies. For example, students who are looking to gain certain skills and get an experience of working globally, who are already probably industry practitioners or who want to get some vocational skills and enter the industry quickly. For them, the professional diploma would suit very well, so that they can get the academic background of learning academics and theory behind the industry, and also have the internship where they can gain skills and have the experience of working in Singapore or any other international destination. And that will allow them to further their career within the industry. For those who are for an academic pursuit, who want to progress on to a degree or a master's in hospitality and tourism, let's say after 12 standard they have done in India, they can then go for the higher diploma and then progress on to the degree after completing an internship as well. And then if they want, they can further progress to a master's. So here, like Isaac mentioned, their background and also what is the end outcome that they desire from their studies, that would probably enable us to advise the student which program he or she should take.
Okay. So basically, to summarize, I can just answer like this. Okay, if the students have completed the class standard, they can go for a professional diploma, and if they have completed anything which is related to hospitality, they can go for a higher diploma. And in case if they wanted to enhance their skills and get into a proper degree, they can go for a BSc. Am I right? Yeah.
In a way, yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay. So I have another question from one of my partner. Okay. So he asked, with the COVID situation, people are afraid to join the hospitality industry, and how do we tackle this?
Yes. It is the same issue here. Right? But don't forget, food and beverage is the biggest industry around the world. It still has to go on. Right now, we are putting measures in Singapore to ensure people continue with the food and beverage experience through home delivery and so on. But this is only for the meantime. As the economy goes up, like I said, very soon restaurants will be open as well. Restaurants in hotels will also be open, and people will be looking forward to that experience in a restaurant, which is very different from the experience at home. Right? People go to a restaurant to eat for many reasons. One of the biggest reasons is to socialize, to celebrate, to get together with your loved ones and so on, and to enjoy the dining experience. So this has to go on. Restaurants will eventually open up. So in Singapore, the second thing that we are saying right now is we're working with a lot of people also in the industry who are F&B workers in restaurants and hotels. So yes, though the business has been affected, this is the time to upgrade yourself, to prepare for the rebound of the sector, right? Once the tourist comes in, or even for Singaporeans with varying disposable incomes, we have different dining options. And I think you also know that we are quite popular for having a lot of Michelin restaurants in Singapore. So yes, the time will come eventually.
And it's Safina, to add on a lighter note on this. So during these times when we have been working from home and mostly restricted to our homes, the only getaway that we had was to sneak in a takeaway meal or order from our favorite restaurants, and the food still get delivered. Nothing else can be done. So this is the beauty of this industry, that even in these times, even the government and the industry has still stayed alive. They have still served the customers, albeit in a different mode. We cannot dine in, but that hasn't stopped us from engaging in the food we love. So this industry can never be completely shut down, and it will be the first one, I believe, to recover at a very quick pace once the situation is normalized. And the government and the authorities also understand this, and that's why enough measures have been put in place so that the industry can recover. Because I'm sure even you, being based out of Bangalore, you're itching to get to your favorite eateries and go out. So this industry is going to be the first one to recover, and there are enough measures put in place.
Okay, all right. And also, like what even I feel, and discussing with many of the experts in this industry, is this is actually the right time where students need to enroll in this particular career, because as we all know, like the industry is hit right now. Okay, so the economy is now. Okay, but until they complete the course, which takes another 6 months if it is a professional diploma, and by the time the economy is already taken up, and at that time, and most of the job opportunities for the students will be higher end. Am I right in saying this? Yeah?
Yes. Prepare for the rebound. Yes.
Okay,
So,
so
to add to it, sorry to interrupt you, Safina, to add on, I always want to pass on the message to any student or parent or your partners who are listening, that the generic mentality to wait out until everything is normal would put us into a trap whereby we may miss the wave of recruitment or the opportunities that would open up as soon as the economy starts to recover. So this is the right time once the students have all the resources, and technology has enabled us to take the classroom experience to the students' own home. They can join the online classes, they can join the live streaming of classes, and that also allows the student to have the recording of the lectures. I mean, I'll just elaborate what I mean. When you're in a face-to-face classroom, once the lecture is over, you cannot go back to that lecture. It's finished. You leave the classroom, you can only go to the next lecture. But now, through the live streaming of the classes and the recording of classes, students are still engaging in the live classes and also have the advantage of having the recording of that lecture with them. So that allows them to study much more better, because they can revisit what they learned, and they can also engage with the lecturers through the online platforms. So if they start their studies now, in 6 months, 7 months, or 8 months time, when it is time for all the economies and all the industries where they look for the best talent to stimulate, to boost their move forward, the students would be ready with their qualifications, with their degrees, with their diplomas, and would be ready to join the job force. So this is the time where you need to start your learning process, so that you're equipped with the skills and the qualifications to take on the new roles that would come up.
Yes, thank you, Mohit. Safina, just to add on, currently we have a lot of students in school, right? So they attend classes which are recorded, but we also have a lot of students who are out of Singapore. So they join us on our live online sessions. So like Mohit said, you have so many options, right? You can join live online, which is recorded, or you can join the in-campus classes, which is also recorded, right? So, and everything is uploaded onto your learning platform. And yeah, I think this is a great learning experience right now. It's something that we never had during our time, right? So yeah, it's something to consider.
all right, thank you. Mohit, this is the question for you. Like, once after the student enrolls in this course, and as we are talking about the internship, okay, so what is the average paid internship the student can get? What is the monthly average that the student can get?
I think I can answer this.
Isaac would be a better person to answer this. Yes.
Okay, now on the average, what our students get, we always recommend the between 600 to 1,000, right? So for huge hotels, don't expect to be paid more than that. Why? Because you also have a lot of others as in uniform, food, and everything. So about 600 to 1,000 is what you would normally get. But in some other with some other partners, like some other hotels or events company or travel agencies, we see students actually earning more from this. How? Through overtime, where they put in extra work hours, or another way is through sales commission. So I have one student who works in a travel agency. Her basic allowance is 600, but she brings home nearly 2,000. Why? Because from all the different sales packages that she sells, right? So so it varies, but of course the minimum is 600.
Okay, so after knowing this number, I feel that whatever the investment of the course, the student will get returns during the period. During the course period itself. Yeah. All right.
I would say, they would. If you talk about the professional diploma, if the students are starting now, having starting online during the lessons period or the teaching period, it is not only allowing them to continue with their studies, but it's saving them on the accommodation and the living cost of having to do it in Singapore. They can do it from their home right here now. And once the situation is better, they can always come here. And one thing I would mention that, of course, the earning part of internship is always there. They can recover quite a substantial amount of what they earn, what they spend for their studies. They can earn that. But for Indian students especially, coming from the same background myself, I would state that make sure that the students need to make sure that focus is on the studies and not on the income that much, because the overall objective is to get employed by the top employers. So if you lose focus of that, you may lose out in the longer run. So it's better that students equally focus on their studies and not just focus on what part-time income they can earn. And of course, internship period, they can work as much as they want, and they can gain the experience and the money as well. Sure.
Yeah, so Safina, just to add on, while they are studying in school, they're not allowed to work, right?
Yes.
And that's very important. Now, if you get caught working illegally, then that's an issue. So I think I agree with Mohit. Let's concentrate on one thing at a time. Do well in your studies, because school is going to keep you busy every day. And then once you are approaching internship, we will support you, and work hard during your internship. Whether it's in Singapore or whether you choose to go to another country, we are there to support you. And many students during internship who did very well have been offered different full-time positions. So internship is not only a learning period, it's also a time where it could be the start of your career, right? And throughout all this, we are there for you.
All right, thank you. All right, so with this, I'm done with the questions from the audience. But as an educationalist, I have a question, and which I really wanted to address all our audience and our partners and the students here. Okay, so most of the students are not okay to have the online classes. I'm sure, we have already covered that point, how this is going to be a different, and what are all the benefits that they are going to get when they are taking up an online classes. But is there anything that we will have to give a message to our audience, like how important it is to take up an online class rather than just wasting their time and waiting things to end through everything faster? And most of the students are having this question also: is it safe for us to travel overseas at this point of time?
I'll take cue from what you just said, Safina. You mentioned about wasting time. So I wouldn't say wasting time, but the way I'll put across is time lost never comes back.
Right.
Okay? And we are all facing a situation which is not Singapore specific or India specific, but it's a global situation that everyone is facing and going through at the same time. So education or learning, there are only two options left. Either you put a full stop to it, or you accept the technology on hand and take up the online mode of learning so that you can further your learning experience. So taking online mode of learning is no longer an option, but a pressing necessity in these times. I'm sure even in India, most of the institutions and universities have taken the online mode of learning at the moment, because you cannot keep on delaying your education. And like me and Isaac mentioned during the session earlier, that the importance of taking on the online or live streaming mode of learning now is so that you are prepared to take on new roles or new positions or leadership roles, or even your career in 6 months or a year's time when the economy is on the rise. If you wait for things to be normal, none of us can predict when it is going to be normal, and even what the definition of the new normal would be. We don't know how it is going to be. whether what we considered as normal 6 months ago, whether that is going to be the new normal, we don't know. So what we can do now is what we have in hand and what we have in control, which is continue with our education, not keep on delaying it, hoping that things would work out. Because this is one thing, it keeps you safe, you are within your safe environment, but you have the same educational resources at your disposal as much as technology is allowing. And if I talk in terms of Singapore context, the Singapore immigration authorities, they are also recognizing the situation and they're accepting the online attendance of students. So let's take the example that you have a student sitting in Bangalore at the moment. He starts with his higher diploma or his studies at the moment. He would have his online attendance recorded through the live lectures that we take. If any assessments are being done, his academic performance is also recorded. So when time comes and the borders are open, not only in Singapore but also on the Indian part, and the students are allowed to travel and the visa applications are processed, his or her online attendance and the academic records will play an important part in getting the visa approvals. And Singapore or NDIS, it's institutional sponsored visa. So unlike UK or US, students don't have to wait for appointment of any embassy or visa officers, submit their passports, go for interviews. They don't have to do anything of this sort. So once the borders are open and the visa is done, all the student has to do is book a flight ticket and travel to Singapore, because the visa is processed by the institute. It's an institute sponsored visa. So it puts them in a perfect position to embark on their studies. Because if we talk about waiting till normal, even when things become normal in respective countries, be it UK, Canada, US, the visa processes would still take a longer time for students, and the acceptance rate is not as high as Singapore. For Indian students, the visa acceptance rate is more than 90 or 95%. So students have a better opportunity and they still get the qualification, which is globally recognized. They get a UK degree, and Singapore is as good a destination as a London, New York, or any place you mentioned in terms of opportunities.
Yes. Thank you. This was actually very much needed, because as most of the students are having a fear, like what in case if we take up an online course and when we apply for the visa, our visa gets rejected and again we are going back to square one. So in this case, it's not going to be in that way, because the most advantage for all the students is like during their first set of the process itself, they are going to know, they are getting to know that whether they are accepted or not, because it's an institutional sponsored visa, right? Once after everything clearance, then only they are going to start the course. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I would like to thank, on behalf of the SAMS International and SAMS International's entire team, for spending a time and giving us the valuable information. And I would like to thank all our audience who are on live and as well as the breakout rooms. And we would like to thank you so much for attending this session. In case if you have any more questions, please reach out to us, feel free. And just to let you all know that we are starting the intake on June 29, 2020, and applications are open now. So in case if you have any more questions further to it, for our partners and for our colleagues and everyone, please get in touch with us and we will be sending you an official email as well. So thank you so much. So anything else that you...
To summarize, to end, I would just like to mention to all students, parents, and your partners who are listening in, as the division head for India, Sri Lanka, and Indonesia, working with MDIS, I would like to state that SANS International is one of our trusted partners in India. So not only through this session, but later on, any of you students or parents, if you have any questions or queries, we prefer to make use of technology on hand. You can always connect with us through Safina. We can get on WhatsApp calls, we can get on WhatsApp video calls or Zoom sessions, so that we are hands-on available to resolve any issues. If you have any issues while processing your application, or if you have any questions on the academic front, I think I can speak for Isaac as well, that he is one of the most hands-on heads of schools, who's always willing to extend a helping hand to students or parents. So where needed, we would be more than happy to assist them to join MDIS. And of course, once they are part of the MDIS family, we'll always be there to make sure that their journey with MDIS is smooth, is a learning and enriching one, and it gets them on to the organic cycle or the organic circle we have created with our alumni. That the alumni are always connected with us and help the juniors or the new students who are coming in to embark on their future studies and careers, so they can be part of this organic circle that we have at MBIS, where the journey doesn't end when they pass out from MBIS, but it just extends onto a new chapter. So we would be happy to welcome many more students through SANS to join the MBIS family and network in the coming days.
Thank you so much, Mohit. Thank a lot. All right, so are we okay to end the session now?
Sure. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Safina. Thanks for facilitating this session.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much too.
Have a nice weekend.
All right, thank you everyone. I'll see you. Take care. Stay safe.
Bye.